Hi, and welcome to Tuesday Community Connections. Today's time I'd like to share with you in talking a bit about our church and the Synod Assembly that is coming up. As you know, our Synod is made out of congregations, and these congregations gather together once a year to do the business of the church, of our Synod, Eastern North Dakota Synod. Our Synod Assembly is going to be this year a Zoom Synod Assembly, since getting together is not an easy or a healthy thing to do these days. And so we will be gathering together over our computers via a Zoom meeting on Friday through Sunday, August 15th through the 17th. At Sharon, we have 9 delegates. And so there are 9 members besides Deacon Jamie and me that will be voting members of this Synod Assembly. I want to encourage you, if you've never been a part of one, or if you're interested in being a part of a Synod Assembly, to consider being one of our a voting delegate for this year. If you are interested, please contact me or the church office and let me know as soon as you can so that we can get your names in and register you for that. An exciting part of that this year is that we are going to be electing a bishop. And so if you are a delegate, you will have an important role to play, and your voice and your vote will be heard as we elect this bishop. Just so you know, we're not expecting you from Friday night through Sunday at noon or whenever it ends to stay on your computer. Just because it's hard to sit through Zoom meetings forever and ever. They're arranged in 90-minute pieces. And on Friday night, there will be opening worship and a 90-minute session. On Saturday, there will be 2 90-minute sessions. And then on Sunday, 2 90-minute sessions, although depending on how the election goes, there may be a third one as well. So it won't be a whole lot of your time. You can stay at home and do things in between the sessions. But we just need somebody, 9 of you, who are willing to be a part of that. And so I hope many of you will see that as a great opportunity and that you will agree to be a part of that. I want to talk a little bit about this process of electing a bishop. First of all, a bishop is elected, but that doesn't mean that this is a campaign. This is not about putting out campaign signs or any of those kinds of things. In the church, we talk about call. Whether you're called as a pastor or called as a deacon or called as a youth worker or called as a Christian ed director, we're called by God. And so what we look for is, who is it that God is calling to lead this place, whether it be youth ministry in a congregation, a pastor of a church, or a bishop for a synod. Who is God calling to that position at this time? That's part of the reason that the Synod Assembly takes as long as it is, and that it may take 5 votes for us. You probably will take 5 votes for us to elect a bishop, because we're looking at who is God calling. The process starts early on. It started some months ago when congregations and people were asked to submit names of people that they thought, pastors, that they thought would be good candidates for bishop. And so all of those names were collected. They were put together, and then conferences met. There are 8 conferences in our synod. And conferences looked at the names that were there. I believe there were 14 or 15 at the time of those who were willing to let their name go forward. And as the conferences met, we each voted. We could vote for one person, and then each conference could send the top 7 names onto the Synod Nominating Committee. And so each conference submitted 7 names of those that were on that ballot to the Conference Nominating Committee. What the Conference Nominating Committee then did, and I'm not quite sure how they did this, but they had a process that they used. They looked at all of the 7 names from each of the 8 conferences, and in some of those conferences, or some of those names rather, came from several of the conferences. So they picked the top 7 names that came from all of those 8 conferences and came up with the 7 final candidates that will be passed along to the Synod Assembly. I just want you to know at this point that I am one of those 7 names. It is a humbling thing to think that people in this synod believe that I have the gifts and the talents to be a part of the synod in serving as bishop. Now, that doesn't mean that I will be elected. It doesn't mean that I'm going anywhere. It simply means that I've agreed to be open to the call if that's where God is calling me. And again, There will be several votes, most likely 5 votes at the Synod Assembly as the names get narrowed down each time that we vote. I also want to say that for me, this doesn't mean that I'm tired of Sharon or that I'm tired of being a parish pastor. I can't think of anything that I would rather be than a parish pastor. I have loved parish ministry. I love being a part of it. I love those of you at Sharon. I have loved serving here. But I also feel that I need to be open to God's call, as all of us do. God calls us often from places where we're comfortable to try something new or to go to new places. And at this time, I believe that I need to be open to that. And so I am open. Just so you know, when the Synod Assembly starts, on that first ballot, the names of the 7 of us will be on that ballot, along with a blank line. And on that blank line, delegates can write the name of any ELCA ordained pastor. And so it's very possible that the person who is finally elected bishop is a name that we don't even have yet. That doesn't happen very often. I'm not sure if it has, but that is a possibility as well. This journey is a journey of faith. It is a journey of faith for me to say, where would God have me serve? Where is God calling me now? Is God calling me to stay here at Sharon? Or through the Synod, is God calling me to the office of bishop? It's also a good way for us as a Synod to look and say, where is God calling us as a Synod? What is God calling us to do? And where is God calling us to go? And then, who is it of the candidates that we have before us? Who is it that can best lead us on that journey? And so this is a time of prayer. It's a time of discernment. It's a time of listening to God's call. For me, it's fairly personal just because I'm one of those names. But it also is a time for all members of the Eastern North Dakota Synod and every congregation to be thinking about, where is God calling us as a Synod? And how can I be a part of this process, and how can I support what is going on? It's an exciting time as we look forward as a Synod to say we will have new leadership coming in. The old leadership was good. It's not that Bishop Terry didn't do a good job, but he heard God's call in another place, and so he left to go over to Concordia College at the beginning of this year. And so now we choose someone else, and who will that be? So for me, as I said, truly a journey of faith. But I believe for us as a Synod as well, it's a journey of faith. We follow God's call. Sharon will, I will, our Synod will. And I think that we need to know and stand in the place where we know that wherever God calls and whoever God calls, that God is with Sharon, God is with me, God is with us as we move forward to the next stages. So again, I just want you to know, I'm very happy here. You are a wonderful congregation, and I have loved serving Sharon Lutheran Church. And in many ways, I hope that's where I stay. At the same time, I need to be open to God's call, and so I am. And so I ask for your prayers. I ask for your support in wherever this might lead and however God calls us. I also ask you to step out and to live in faith, knowing that God is with us, and God's church will survive and will thrive, and we will do good work together. So thank you. God bless you, and God be with all of us as we look to the future of our Synod as well as our church.